Simon Miller from WhatCulture here with the one and only Chris Van Vliet. How you doing, my friend?
I love seeing you. Like, you have this positive energy that just like exudes out of you. It's unbelievable.
Well, I tell you what, it came from the fact, before I got into this, which is all good, there was a lot of negativity in the wrestling community, and that's not how I live my life. So when the opportunity presented itself, I decided I'm going the other way. I'm going to have a good time.
I always say to people, like, there's the good and the bad in every day and every situation, and it's up to you. Do you want to focus on the good, or you want to focus on the bad? And you're right. Wrestling has, like, so much negativity. Guys, there is some good stuff that happens sometimes, okay?
But dude, you do it as well. Like, I think that's, when we met, we did an interview for your show and your channel, which we shall talk about.
That's my only interview for the channel done in London, by the way.
There we go.
Yeah.
Number one right there. But I kind of think that's how we, had a good rapport when it came to an interview, because we both just wanted to have a good time about wrestling.
Yeah, and it's just like, I've always approached it of like, if this is interesting to me, I assume it's going to be interesting to a bunch of other people as well, too. And if not, it's still interesting to me.
But honestly, how many times have you heard somebody who's at the top of the tree say, I do this stuff for myself, and then I just hope that somebody else likes it?
I think that that's the secret. Like, I think passion is the secret sauce of life. If you're enjoying it, especially in this world we live in right now, in this internet world where these supercomputers live in our pocket, if you enjoy it, other people will enjoy it too. And I think that's the thing. If you can enjoy what you're doing every single day, whether it's wrestling or bodybuilding or nutrition or whatever it happens to be, working on cars, whatever it is, just love what you do.
Yeah. And your show, I think it's fair to say, if we were going to draw it like a curve, it would just go like this. Do you know what I mean? You kind of, a few years ago, I know from my sort of YouTube algorithm perspective, all of a sudden it was like, boom, Chris Van Vliet is everywhere. And you've got on that wagon, man, and you have ridden it all the way to the sunshine, to the point you now have a crazy studio with this big, awesome wall. You must be over the moon.
That's very kind of you to say.
It's true.
Thank you. I think in 2018, I was like, I want to do 20 wrestling interviews this year. Yeah. And I think the most I had done at that point was like 17. I ended up doing like 40. Then the next year, I'm like, I want to do 40 this year. And I ended up doing like 100 or something. And it was just like I was going out of my way. Instead of like waiting for the opportunities to come to me, I was going out and like, if I had to drive 5 hours to do an interview with Chris Jericho in the back seat of his car, which that sounds so weird to even say
I remember
out loud,
that. Yeah.
I'll do it. And I drove like 5+ hours to do an interview with Tony Khan. It was like those opportunities. If someone were to say yes, I wouldn't go, yeah, but it's far away. Yeah, but I have to work. I'd be like, you said yes. That's all I need. I'll figure out a way.
And I think, because it ties so much into what wrestlers do, they drive hours and hours in their cars. I think when they see that work ethic, they're probably more likely to give you their time because they see, well, they get it right. That's something they can completely understand.
Yeah, and I also think it's a matter of like leading with value. And you do this like so well. I think a lot of people go like, hey, can I do an interview? Like, will you do an interview with me for your channel? And then that's the end of the sentence. It's like, hey, could you do this thing because you're promoting this book or this match or whatever it happens to be? And I think it's so important to lead with that, which, again, you are so good at.
I try my best. But honestly, I would say right now when it comes to, and look, we talked about it earlier, everyone's got a podcast. It's great. It's a very open space. But you have developed a niche for yourself where people come to you for wrestling interviews. And what I love about it is people are breaking stories here, there, and everywhere. But you tell that, when you tell their story as opposed to a headline story. And I think that's why it's so cool. Was that your plan? You just wanted to sit down? Because look, there's a opportunity for everyone. I don't necessarily like the interviews when people go down and go snipe, 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 snipe. Yeah. Let's talk about all the controversial stuff. And you don't do it, but that's what it makes such a nice listen. Like, it's an enjoyable listen. And it's a positive listen, to use the theme of this interview we're doing right now. And I know, given that's how I approach wrestling, it's what makes your show as good as it is.
I think for me, I'm just genuinely curious, and I want to have great conversations with people. But I also think that we only see the finished product. We only see The Rock like starring in these movies, or we only see Tom Brady with 7 Super Bowl rings, and we don't see like the stumbles along the way. And I want to know, like, what did you want to be when you were 8? Or like, what happened when you didn't get into this school, or this thing happened, or this injury? Like, I want to know the struggle along the way, the bumps in the road, so that people who are also going through things in their life can go, oh my God, if that person went through this thing, I can surely get through this thing in my life.
Well, we were talking to Johnny Gargano yesterday, and he said his Johnny Gargano, arguably the hottest free agent, he was talking about a lack of confidence.
Like, unbelievable. Yeah. Well, I also think that Johnny's in an interesting position, right? Because his whole identity has been tied to what he's been doing for the last 5 or 6 years. He told me in our interview that we did yesterday that'll be coming out soon on the Chris Van Vliet YouTube.
Subscribe.
And Insight with Chris Van Vliet.
Subscribe.
He told me he only wants to wrestle till 40. So I said, well, now you've got like white space between 34 now to 40. Like, you've got to figure out what do you want your legacy to be now? And he's like, oh, I haven't really thought about that. So maybe that has something to do with like if he wants to like continue to do what he's doing at the highest level, like that is really hard. Like, he's really good at wrestling.
He really, really is. And Phil, the man behind the camera, is a huge fan for that very reason, because he's so damn good in the ring. Going back to your show too, do you find now, given your body of work, it's not easier to get interviews in the sense you have to hunt them down and go through PRs or whatever it may be, but do you find they're more willing to speak to you because the reputation you have for yourself?
Maybe a little bit, but you know this. There's still a lot of people that won't respond to your messages or your emails, or it's not the right time now, or, oh, hey, well, I'll do this in 6 months from now, and then, you never hear back from them again. I'd say maybe, but also, again, because you're leading with something. Like, you're going, hey, I've got a YouTube channel with this many subscribers or a podcast with this many downloads. If you have a message you want to get out, I would love to share your story. That's what I lead with.
And, I mean, you've interviewed everyone. I mean, you talked to The Rock, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I've talked to The Rock 9 times.
I know.
Counted
her. Who you are. I've seen that clip.
It was the greatest thing, because I was such a huge Rock fan growing up. And like, that's when I really got into wrestling. The Attitude Era like sucked me in. It was Austin McMahon at the time, and it was The Rock becoming The Rock. I would rock around my high school asking people questions just so I could shout, it doesn't matter what you think.
They all loved you.
So fast forward 12 years, I think, from there, where I interviewed The Rock for the first time, and then, so fortunate to interview him a handful of times after that. And like, he would see me on the record, oh, Chris, how you doing? Oh, look, you're looking good. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. This is The Rock.
So you've done The Rock, you've done Cena, you've done all these guys. Yeah. Who's your Everest? Who haven't you done that you need to get in the vault?
It's Vince McMahon.
I knew
and I didn't think that a Vince McMahon interview was possible, but Pat McAfee, I feel, has made that, that door is slightly ajar. Maybe it'll be another 15 years before he does his next interview, but like, Pat's doing amazing work, and that interview with Vince, like, he humanized Vince. Yeah. And I've always said, like, we see Vince kind of like as the Wizard of Oz. He's like the man behind the curtain, quite literally. And I think what Pat did is he showed that Vince is a human being. And I want to go into that even more. Like, does Vince McMahon eat pizza? I
want to know that.
Me too. And if he does, what are the toppings on it? Like, I heard some crazy story that Vince didn't know what a burrito was.
I've heard this, yes.
Is that a legit story? Like, these are the things we need to know.
Dude, it's so true. We need to get this interview. It's massively important.
Like, as important as it is to talk about, like, the screw job or, other things in wrestling, yeah, fine, great. Pizza and burritos, okay? That's what we need to talk about.
What protein bar does he like? What's his favorite make?
Oh, this is good. What's his split on macros, right?
Does he do count your calories? We don't know this.
We need to know.
I mean, all I know is he squats 1,000 pounds even though he's 75 years old.
Unbelievable, right?
Embarrassing for us, isn't it?
It is crazy. Unbelievable. Yeah.
We'll end on that note, because I'm upset that an elderly gentleman lives way more than me.
Oh, yeah, he's an elderly gentleman. He's a grandfather.
He is. And look at us schmoes.
Both of us put together.
Maybe that's how we can get him. I mean, it's be your interview, but I'll be in the background, just then together we make one Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Do you think this interview will get an up?
Oh, dude, golden up. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I love this guy. This guy's been nice to me from day one. Wow. Pimp all your stuff. Make sure you get that out there right now.
Well, look, I've been starting to do these workout videos. I did one with Billy Gunn and Mike O'Hearn. It was so good. Killer Cross, EC3. Next time I'm in England, I want to do one with you. Or next time you're in the U.S., we'll do one.
I mean, I'm 100% in. 100%.
Oh, and then people are going to go, hey, he said he couldn't squat 1,000 pounds, then he can actually squat 1,000 pounds.
That's what we can do it. Can we squat 1,000 pounds?
Well, I can't. My legs will break.
I can't either. Although they are those pit squat. We don't have that in it. Well, I'm sure some gym does, but it's not a popular gym piece of equipment in the UK.
If I try to squat 1,000 pounds, my knees will break off at the joints.
My knees are hurting right now. I just stood up.
Think about it.
Yes, absolutely. Seriously though, I'm not just saying this because you're here. That's why I wanted to talk to Chris. Subscribe to all of his stuff, his podcast, leave 5 stars. I know, and a review. I know, and on Spotify too. I listen. I genuinely, as a man that enjoys positive wrestling content, There is no equal. There really, really is not.
There is no one better than you, my friend.
They're going to hate us. It's too positive. The internet's not going to be able to handle it. It's just going to melt down. Seriously, do that.
Give me a hug.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Love you, bro.
I love you too, my friend. I really do. Nice guy. Like, share, subscribe there. Like, share, subscribe here. We'll see you soon.